Place Bournemouth go into their match against league leaders Liverpool off the back of an 11-match unbeaten run. Can they throw a spanner in the Reds' title charge?
They've been the best team, not only in England, I would say even in all Europe this season. They are top of the league. They've been top of the league in Europe, even not going with the first team to the last game. So it shows the level they are playing at. They've just lost one game in the league against Forest, and it's going to be very difficult for us. Yes, I know that's going to be very difficult, but it's also a good challenge. I think we are in a good moment. We are playing well also, and I don't know if we will have enough for them, but definitely we will try, yes.
We were 3-0 up at half-time, and I was expecting a second half where we could just control the game, have the ball a bit and hope maybe score the fourth one, but they just kept on going at us for 45 minutes, and that showed me the character of the team. And since then they've been outstanding in every department. A very good and strong team, and they deserve to be where they are. Maybe they even deserve a bit higher than the position they are at the moment.
Well, that's huge praise indeed from Arne Slot for the team that his side are about to face this weekend. And I know you want to pay tribute to the job that Andoni Iraola is doing at Bournemouth.
Yeah, I think Iraola's done a fantastic job, not only this season, but last as well. I think when he came in, kind of was an unknown. Everybody's thinking, well, this is a massive job. Trying to keep them up was the kind of main important thing. And I think he's done an incredible job. You know, to go to Forest and win 5-0, to be beating Manchester United, these players, Semenyo, Kluivert scoring goals. And I think they're in a great spot, and you can see the respect that Arne Slot has for this team as well. So I'm looking forward to this one. I think the fact that it's at Bournemouth adds that little bit of extra spice. But I do think you're seeing a team that's in great form. I mean, to beat Nottingham Forest 5-0, and when Forest are in third, in a great place in the Premier League, I think realistically, people are realising how good Bournemouth can be. And I think one thing I like, yes, it's good seeing them score goals, but they're very organised. You know, the way that they organise defensively, they're set up in a way that I think Iraola needs to be given a lot more credit, because whoever they're playing against, they seem to adjust their tactics. You know, whether they're playing with their wing-backs a little bit higher, whether they're sitting in a little bit deeper, they're hard to break down, and they can score. Look at this, no one would have seen this one coming at all.
Yeah, just remind us that Nottingham Forest are Forest that are currently where they are, right at the top of the Premier League, in third place at the moment, and they got smacked at the Vitality Stadium, 5-0 last Saturday. Manchester City, the reigning champions, also lost at the Vitality Stadium. Arsenal also lost at the Vitality Stadium. That's 3 of the top 4 losing. They now face Liverpool. The Vitality is a very tough place to go.
It is. Remember, Chelsea won there, but got lucky, really lucky. Bournemouth missed a penalty. Sanchez saved the penalty, and Bournemouth were the better team, really. So outstanding, especially at home, but then they go away to Newcastle 2 weeks ago, and then they smashed them as well. And we saw the stats earlier in that little VT, low possession, 35%, 34% at times, but they hit you so much in quick transition because they have that verticality in them, and they are the most intense team in the league. And really, the way they've played is a lot due to that intensity and how much running they do, high intensity runs, a lot of sprints. You lose the ball, or they lose the ball, and they straight around you to recover the ball back. And if they can't recover it, like Ian said, defensively they're very well organised and very solid. So they just have everything, and I'm so happy for Iraola because he deserves it. Remember last season he started with 9 defeats in a row, and everybody was calling for Bournemouth to sack him. They kept faith in him, and now you see the reward. For me, he's the manager of the season already, more than Nuno, more than Slot, because of the way they're playing.
And the way they're playing without some big names, because they also have a lengthy injury list. We can put it up for you now and show you there's 9 players missing, looking at that list there. And there's some really big names on that list too, and they're still managing.
And he hasn't complained once. I think that's telling, isn't it? You know, a lot of managers, and I get it, there will be injuries that will happen in any team, but I think, you know, Iraola hasn't complained about that once, and it's almost like they haven't skipped a beat, which leads me to believe that the way he sets them up, the best managers, anybody can kind of go in and do the shift. There might be players that are better than others, and they're missing a lot of players, but the roles and responsibilities don't change. And I think that's something that needs to be highly praised, because as Julian was saying, you know, last year they were calling for him to potentially be let go. And I think sometimes with these things, you have to have a little bit more patience. And maybe a little bit more respect needs to be put on Irola's name, because I think when he came in there, everybody was kind of like, well, who is this? We could have got this person. We could have got that person. Well, look at the incredible job that he's doing. I mean, Eddie Howe did an incredible job with his Bournemouth team. I think Irola's doing an even better job, if that's even possible.
Yeah, and just hearing the end of Arne Slot there paying so much tribute, saying they could have been higher and should probably be higher the way they're playing on the table. He's under no illusions about the job that his side have on their hands this weekend.
Yeah, and that's why also he rotated massively in the Champions League on Wednesday night, and he left 9 starters at home, no Van Dijk, no Trent, no Salah, who got all the midweek rest, while the rest of the squad were going to Eindhoven to play against PSV in the Champions League. They were already qualified, and so I understand that. But it's also because they were playing Bournemouth this weekend, and he knew that he needs those superstars to be fit and ready, because that's going to be a hell of a battle.
Jules, I know you're very much in the know. You have your finger on the pulse of all the news as it's breaking. I know that for a fact. What do we know about Liverpool and their business in the transfer window?
They were not really looking to do anything this January anyway, so they were going to wait for the summer. They will strengthen in the summer. It will also depend on who leaves in the summer, especially the 3 players out of contract in Van Dijk, Alexander-Arnold and Salah. If they lose all 3 of them, then obviously they will be replaced. If they keep all 3 of them, which is also possible, then you look at maybe strengthening in different positions, centre-back maybe in another defensive midfielder to better than Endo maybe. But then if you only lose Trent, you might look at a right-sided defender, maybe versatility there. They can play right-back, centre-back. But really, that squad is so good already with a lot of depth. If you look at the front 6, pretty impressive. So they might not even do much in the summer either.
And I think as well, like we talk about this a lot on this show about the contracts, but I still can't get my head around the fact that Mo Salah, I don't care what age he is, you have to sign that guy up. And the fact that he's playing in the way that he's playing, knowing that potentially he could be moving on, just shows you the professionalism that this guy has. And it's about what team you support, the quality that Mo Salah has, and Virgil van Dijk. For me personally, I think Trent will be the player that ends up leaving. I think he's been highly linked to Real Madrid. Obviously, they put in that cheeky bid during his window as well. But Mo Salah, I think he's one of the greatest ever centre-forwards in the Premier League. Every single year, we talk about double digits, coming in from that left, right-hand side, wherever foot he's coming in with, he can score different types of goals. And he's just brilliant.
Yeah, he's on 19 Premier League goals. One more would put him on 20. It would be the 5th season that he's got 20 plus goals this season, and that would put him in elite company. Only Alan Shearer, Harry Kane, Thierry Henry and Sergio Aguero have managed to do that. It is remarkable, exactly as you say, in a year when so much is going on off the pitch. He's just taken his game to another level, and I didn't think there were any more records for him to break.
No, you're right, and especially the back end of last season where he maybe didn't have a season as amazing as the one previously. We thought, okay, maybe he's 32 years old and he's slightly on the way down. But he's showing this season, I think Slot's arrival has helped him because he's closer to the goal, not as much as wide as he used to be under Jurgen Klopp. And maybe he just needed something different to be at his best again. And when you remember they signed him as a proper winger, not a goal scorer at the time in Italy, to have transformed him and made him into this incredible goal machine is even more remarkable from a Liverpool point of view.
Yeah, so looking forward to that encounter between Liverpool and Bournemouth. That's it.
Arne, we'll start with a serious topic. What do you make of the abuse that's directed at referees that's been highlighted this week with online abuse to Michael Oliver? And what responsibility is there for players, coaches, even the media as well, to set an example?
Yeah, no, we all have a responsibility when it comes to this. We are aware of that, and maybe not always we've been perfect examples, but we are human beings as well. But we try to be as responsible as possible. The good thing in this country is the atmosphere in every ground we go to, every stadium is fantastic, and that's not everywhere in Europe. So I was in Holland. There's much more problems in and around the stadium than here in England. So England was maybe the first country that has this under control. Hopefully England can become now also the first country that has the online abuse an answer to that, because it's about referees, but I think players get this, and if as a manager probably as well, if you lose a few games. So the social media thing is something we all are aware of, and hopefully, like I just said, we can get this in a way that this abuse is not there anymore. But at this moment, that's unrealistic.
I just wanted to ask you about Mo Salah as well, because there's quotes from the Saudi sports minister today where he says we would love to have him, which I don't think comes as any surprise to anyone given the numbers he's producing. But looking at it from an objective point of view, what would your advice be to someone like Mo over a move to Saudi when he's playing at the level that he is at the moment in terms of the numbers that he's producing?
Yeah, I would be surprised if there's anyone wherever around the world saying we don't want Mo Salah. So he's doing so well for so many years that everybody probably wants him. And he's done so well without my advice for a long time. So he can probably keep doing what is best for his career, even without my advice. But my advice to him would be different than than the one you just mentioned.
Can you expand on that slightly then? If your advice would be different?
No. What I mean with different is that everybody wants him, including us. We want him to extend, of course, as well. So. Yeah, that is clear. But I'm not surprised that Saudi wants him. But I'm also not surprised would not be surprised if other countries want him as well. So yeah, he's been old and wise enough. He's done so many smart things in his career that he will make the right decision for himself and hopefully for us as well.
We will look at football because Bournemouth, 9 first team players injured, 11 Premier League games though unbeaten, 9 goals in the last 2 games. Beating Newcastle and Nottingham Forest as well. So how do you assess the challenge that you face this weekend?
Yeah, it's a big one, and this is probably going to sound strange. And I knew this already when we played the second half against them in our home game. We were 3-0 up at half time, and I was expecting a second half where we could just control the game, have the ball a bit, and hope maybe score the 4th one. But they just kept on going at us for 45 minutes, and that showed me the character of the team. And since then they've been outstanding. They were before that game also, because we were 3-0 up at half time. We didn't really match the first half, in my opinion. Maybe we deserved to be up, but not with 3 goals. And afterwards they've beaten so many strong teams, and it's a simple reason for that. A lot of quality created by Richard, of course. He created our current sports director, who worked there for a few years. And he hired a fantastic manager as well. Why is he a fantastic manager? He has a great game plan, and his players work incredibly hard. And then in a different way than Arsenal, they are also a threat in set pieces. So where Arsenal 9 out of 10 times does the same, they always come up with worked ones that have been very useful for them as well. So in every department, a very good and strong team, and they deserve to be where they are. Maybe they even deserve a bit higher than the position they are at the moment.
Thank you.
Just following on from that, I don't know how much you've maybe seen the career of Justin Kluivert so far. I mean, 11 million euros, and look at the development that he's had. He's looking like an incredible bargain. What do you make of him as a player?
Yeah, he's one of the many examples where I think Richard deserves a lot of credit for. But not only Richard, the manager, of course, as well, because he started working with him. And you know that I believe that the team makes individual better. So, yeah, you need quality. And that's what Richard brought there. And his successor probably as well. But I think most of the players that are there were there last season already as well. And the manager has done an incredible job. So, Justin, great season he's having. Nice and good to see for us, because we always knew he was a big talent. He left Holland quite early. He was a bit criticized for that, because in Holland many people always feel you need to have some extra years in the Eredivisie before you go abroad. But he's a great example that you can be really successful by going abroad early and go to a few clubs, and then at a certain age, because I think he's only 24, he's not so old yet, and be at this level already. So he will play another big talent that has grown up at Ajax, Ryan Gravenberch. So interesting matchup tomorrow.
Obviously, you rested a lot of players in the previous game. We're expecting you'll make a lot of changes, but how is the rest of the squad? Any other players coming back from injury, etc.?
Yeah, you can say I rested a lot of players. You can also say you played the ones that needed playing time. And I was really pleased how they performed in PSV Eindhoven, who were, apart from 3 or 4 players that were not playing, had quite a strong team, and we were more than competitive, even the second half when there were so many youngsters on the pitch. And the ones that stayed behind, they didn't rest in the sense that they had 3 or 4 days off. They did train, but they didn't play a game. And I said already that doesn't give us any guarantees for Saturday, but it hopefully will help us during the upcoming 3 or 4 months, because it's the Premier League and the Champions League is a long season for them, with 10 months in a row non-stop playing games without any weeks off in between. So hopefully that will help them to stay fresh for the upcoming months that are coming.
Hi Arne, we saw Federico Chiesa play the 90 minutes against PSV. Every time he always seems to be really positive, always wants to attack. How much of a threat could he be for the rest of the season, and is he ready for more minutes in the Premier League as well if called upon?
Yeah, of course. He's ready for more minutes in the Premier League, because if you can play 90 at Champions League level, then you are able to play an amount of minutes in the Premier League. His main problem, if you want to call it a problem, is that he's in competition with Luis Diaz, Darwin Núñez, Cody Gakpo, Mo Salah and Diogo Jota. And I think you agree with me that they are doing quite well also. But it's very good for us that it was 6 or 7 months ago, he said, against Swiss when they lost in the Euros, was his last time he played 90 minutes. So it's very good from him, but definitely also from our performance staff, that we've, during training sessions, got him to the point that he's able to play 90 minutes without a lot of friendlies or whatever he has to play. So big compliment for him, how hard he's worked, and for the performance of medical staff as well.
I know you mentioned Dominic Szoboszlai after the game last weekend, but at the end of last season he was talking about the difference between the pace of the Bundesliga and the Premier League, and he maybe set the bar himself too high and didn't perform as well as he could have done in some games. What have you seen from this season to give you that kind of opinion that he can play that role for you this season now, how well he's doing?
If he said what you said, then I will talk to him today or tomorrow and say, at this club you can never set the bar too high, because that's impossible. The bar at this club is of the highest standards, and this is what you have to, where you have to get to. So, but probably he meant that he played some really good games, and in football it's impossible to play. If you play 60 games of a certain level, you can always go a bit lower. That's normal, but not too far. And then we are talking about consistency, and this season he's been very consistent in his work rate, which is a main thing in football. It's underestimated sometimes, but I just highlighted why Bournemouth is doing so well. I think it's one of the reasons why we do so well also. But he's not only working hard. If he works hard, the intensity he can run at, the intensity he can play duels in with is of the highest standards of this level we are playing at. So that's what for me stands out with him compared to many others. The ability for him to run in a certain intensity and keep on running. And I think what he is improving recent weeks or recent months is that he's more and more involved in dangerous attacks and sometimes in assists and goals. In the last game he was involved in 2 goals. So that is something he deserves, because he's putting so much work in, and his technique is also outstanding. So I've always felt that it's a matter of time before he would score goals, give assists, because his shot, his touch on the ball, yeah, he should set the standards high, because he is a player that can reach definitely those standards.
Okay. Hi, you've mentioned Richard Hughes. He obviously played a big part in assembling this Bournemouth side. So have you spoken to him before the game, and can you talk about how your relationship is with working with him?
Yeah, I spoke with him before this game, as I speak to him before every game, and 1 day before the game, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, we almost speak each other on a daily basis. Of course, I asked him a few things on Bournemouth as well. But we have very good people that analyze Bournemouth and I'm doing this myself quite a lot as well. I see a lot of games of them already. So it's just the more information you can get, the better it is. But my relationship with him is very good, which is probably what you can expect if you win a lot of games, because mostly relationships between managers and sports directors are a bit under debate if you start to lose a lot. But no, my relationship with him is only very positive from start till now.
Carl?
Just to go back to the question you were asked about giving advice to Mo, and I know you're not involved in transfers and contract negotiations, but have you expressed your thoughts to those 3 players that are out of contract and some about where you see what you want from them and where you see their future?
I think you know the answer to this question, don't you? The answer is, of course, I speak with these players. I speak with them not every day like Richard, but quite a lot. And it would be ridiculous if in all these times I speak to them, we've never spoken about the future. So, of course, we do. But as you probably also know, that's not something I'm going to discuss with you, where we are talking about. But, yeah, but it's not only with the 3 that are out of contract. You also talk about future things with the other players as well. So it's a non-stop process talking to your players, but it's also a non-stop process that I will not talk about that here in public with you.
Just specifics on timeline for Jota's return. Joe Gomez, is he ready to return to the squad, and Andy's Darwin fit?
All 3 of them are in training today. So then the question is, are they already far enough to join us towards Bournemouth? That's something we have to wait and see today, because we have probably also more than 20 players available. And we always have more than 20 available, but the ones that are mostly there. So we have to make the smartest decision for them, but also for winning the game tomorrow.
Hi Arne, you mentioned a few times there about how hard Bournemouth work and the physical attributes they've been to a game. We know they run more than anyone else in the Premier League. How much is winning that physical battle going to go towards winning the game, and how much did that influence your decision to rest so many players in midweek?
Oh, that hasn't had any. There was no reason, because we play Bournemouth and they run so much, to rest them during the week. We would have done that against any other team that we face, because I already said it's not about. We rested them not because of the Bournemouth game. We rested them more for the long term, because and it's quite a long time between November and March that there's an international break and I have a week off. But then I know Virgil, I know because the Dutch team, I know that they play 2 games against Spain. So for them it just keeps on going, and that's why I've already also explained that if you look at our season, after every 3, 4 or 5 weeks, we've tried to create a moment where players like Virgil and all the others that have played so many games didn't play during the week. Mostly there was a League Cup game that they didn't play. So, was that an answer to your question?
How much the physical battle against a team like Bournemouth, who use those strengths so well, how much is that going to play towards winning the game?
Yeah, a lot. If you can't compete with them in that aspect, then you need luck to win the game, and then you need a special moment or a special save or a lot of special saves from Ali to win the game. But if we're able to compete with them on a physical level, then the margins for us to have a chance to win the game go up a lot, of course. But if we cannot compete with them physically, which I think we definitely can, because we are a team that's really fit as well. I agree with you, they're just above us. Probably also has to do that we have a bit more ball possession than them. But I think it's one of the few games we've played this season that we were outrun, only by a small margin, but we were outrun against Bournemouth. And I hope that's going to be different tomorrow. But it's not going to be easy.
If you've made any decision on whether James McConnell and Jayden Danson might be allowed to go out on loan, not necessarily if you will, but if you would be allowed to, if the interest was there.
These are also ongoing discussions we have, and you know how it is in football. Yesterday can be different than today or tomorrow. So if I can give you a certain answer now and then, of course, we're not hoping that this is going to happen. But if I then leave the training pitch and we are free injuries along the training session, then it's going to be a different answer. So it's a process. We are discussing a lot about, and these decisions will be made, will be pushed towards the end of the window, which is almost there.
Thank you.
Thanks, Arne.